morning sky over Seoul turned black without warning. Admiral Kyung-min was drinking his coffee when the alarm started screaming through the Seoul Defense Command Center. He dropped his cup and ran to the main display screen. What he saw made his blood turn cold. Massive ships filled the sky above Earth. They were not like anything humans had ever built. These ships looked like giant crystals floating in space. Each one was bigger than a city. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands. They blocked out the sun over every major city on the planet. Kyung-min grabbed his radio. All stations, report status immediately. Reports came flooding in from around the world. The ships had appeared everywhere at the same time. New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow, Mumbai. Every major city had these crystal ships hanging above it like dark clouds. Colonel Dae-ho burst into the command center. His uniform was wrinkled and his hair was messy. He had been sleeping when the emergency call came through.
"What are we dealing with?"
he asked. "First contact," Kyung-min said quietly. "And I don't think they came here to talk." The main screen suddenly lit up with an incoming transmission. The face that appeared was not human. It had blue-gray skin that looked like stone. Its eyes were completely black with no white parts. When it spoke, its voice was cold and empty. "Primitive species of Terra," the alien said. Every television, radio, and computer on Earth was showing this same message. "You have 7 solar cycles to surrender without conditions. We are the Vexthari Empire. We have conquered 47 star systems. We have never been defeated," the alien continued speaking. "Your biological diversity will be cataloged for our records. Your strongest individuals will serve as laborers in our mines. Your weakest will be processed for biomatter to feed our colonies. Resistance is futile. No species has ever lasted beyond our first bombardment." Dae-ho stepped forward. "Can they hear us if we respond?" "Yes," Kyung-min said. "All frequencies are open." Dae-ho took a deep breath. He was Earth's unified defense commander. This decision would affect every human being alive. "This is Colonel Dae-ho of Earth's Unified Defense Command. We reject your demand for surrender. Earth is not for sale and humans are not your slaves." The alien's expression did not change. "Your refusal has been noted. We will provide a demonstration of our capabilities. Observe." The transmission ended. Within minutes, satellites showed what was happening in Antarctica. A beam of pure energy came down from one of the crystal ships. It hit the abandoned McMurdo research station. The entire base turned to glass in seconds. The ice around it melted instantly, creating a perfect circle of steaming water. Dr. So-young watched the footage from her laboratory in Busan. She was Earth's leading expert on alien life, though until today that had been mostly theoretical work. Now she had real alien technology to study, even if only from satellite images. She called Kyung-min immediately. "Admiral, I need all the data you have on that energy beam. I need to understand what we're facing." "What can you tell us so far?" Kyung-min asked. So-young looked at her computer screens. She had been analyzing the limited data for the past hour. "Their technology is far beyond ours, but there's something strange. Look at their attack pattern. They destroyed an empty research station, not a military base, not a populated city. They chose a target that would scare us but not actually hurt anyone." "What does that mean?" "It means they've done this before many times. They know exactly how to break a species' will to fight. They use fear as a weapon before they use their real weapons." Kyung-min thought about this. "So they're experts at psychological warfare." "More than that," So-young said. "I've been analyzing their transmission, their ship designs, their language patterns, even their choice of threats. They've never encountered serious resistance. Every species they conquered gave up after the first demonstration. But we're not giving up. No, we're not. And I don't think they know how to handle that." Across the globe, world leaders gathered in emergency meetings. The United Nations called an immediate session. Military commanders prepared their forces. Scientists worked around the clock to understand the alien technology. Regular people watched the news and wondered if this was the end of human civilization. In a small apartment in Seoul, a young fighter pilot named Bo Ram stared at the crystal ships through her window. She was supposed to report to base in the morning, but she doubted her F-16 could do much against ships that could turn buildings to glass with a single beam. Her phone rang. It was her squadron leader. "Boram, get to base immediately. We're scrambling everything we have." "Sir, what can our planes do against those things?" "We're going to find out. If we're going down fighting." Boram put on her uniform and drove to the airbase. The roads were chaos. Some people were fleeing the cities. Others were going to work as if nothing had happened. She had to admire their courage, even if it seemed pointless. At the base, her squadron was already preparing for takeoff. Their planes looked tiny compared to the massive crystal ship hanging over Seoul. But they were getting ready anyway. In space, Captain Hyunwoo floated in the International Space Station. He had the best view of anyone on Earth. The alien fleet stretched out in all directions. There were more ships than he could count. Some were small, about the size of office buildings. Others were so big they had their own gravity fields. He was recording everything he could see and sending the data back to Earth. Mission Control. I count at least 2,000 ships in the main fleet. There are smaller groups positioned around the planet. They're not just over cities, they have ships at every major satellite and space station. Any signs of movement? Came the reply from Houston. Negative. They're just waiting. Back in Seoul, Kyung-min gathered his staff for an emergency meeting. The room was packed with military officers, scientists, and government officials. Everyone looked scared, but they were trying to hide it. Report from all departments, Kyung-min said. The intelligence officer spoke first. We've analyzed their ships using every method available. Radar shows they're made of an unknown crystalline material. They're generating some kind of energy field that makes them nearly invisible to most of our sensors. The weapons specialist was next. We've run simulations on every weapon we have. Nuclear missiles, conventional explosives, electromagnetic pulses. Nothing we currently possess can penetrate their shields. Dr. So Young stood up. There's something else. I've been studying their communication methods. They're not just talking to us. They're scanning our entire planet. They're learning everything about us, our languages, our technology, our population centers. Are they planning their attack? Daeho asked. Maybe, or maybe they're trying to understand why we haven't surrendered yet. In their message, they said no species has ever lasted beyond their first bombardment. But we're still here and we're still saying no. The room was quiet for a moment. Finally, Kyung-min spoke. They gave us 7 days. That means they don't plan to attack immediately. The question is why? Why give us time at all? So Young had been thinking about the same thing. Because they're convinced we'll change our minds. Every other species they conquered surrendered quickly. They probably think humans will do the same once we fully understand how outmatched we are. But we won't, Daeho said firmly. No, Kyung-min agreed. We won't. Which means we have 7 days to figure out how to fight them. The meeting ended with assignments for everyone. Military units would prepare defensive positions. Scientists would study the alien technology. Intelligence services would monitor alien communications. Everyone had something to do. As the first day ended, the crystal ship still hung motionless in the sky. Across Earth, humans looked up at them and made their choice. Some prayed. Some cried. Some made plans to fight. In her laboratory, Dr. So Young worked through the night. She had a feeling that humanity's survival depended on understanding something important about these aliens, something they didn't understand about themselves. The Vexthari had conquered 47 star systems. They had never been defeated. They had never even been seriously challenged, but they had never fought humans before. And that, So Young thought as she studied the alien data, might make all the difference. 3 days had passed since the alien fleet arrived. The crystal ship still hung in the sky like dark clouds that would never go away. People around the world were trying to live normal lives, but nothing felt normal anymore. Captain Hyunwoo was fixing a broken sensor on the International Space Station when something strange happened. His hands were moving faster than they ever had before. The repair work that should have taken him 2 hours was done in 30 minutes. He stared at his hands, confused. "Houston, this is ISS," he said into his radio. "I'm experiencing some unusual symptoms up here." "What kind of symptoms, Captain?" "I'm not sure how to explain it. Everything seems clearer. My reflexes are much faster. I can see details on the alien ships that I couldn't see before." Down on Earth, Dr. So Young was having her own strange experience. She was studying alien technology data when suddenly the patterns started making sense. Not just making sense. She could understand them as easily as reading her native language. She called Admiral Kyung-min immediately. "Admiral, something is happening to me." "I think something is happening to a lot of people." "What do you mean?" "I'm looking at alien technology that should be completely foreign to human understanding. But I can read it. I can understand how it works. It's like my brain has been upgraded." Kyung-min had noticed changes in himself too. His memory was sharper. He could process information much faster than before, but he had assumed it was just the stress of the situation. Are you saying this is happening to other people? I think so. I want to run some tests. By the end of the day, So Young had confirmed her suspicions. Blood samples from volunteers showed massive changes in brain activity. Neural scans revealed that human brains were rewiring themselves at an incredible speed. Lieutenant Boram discovered the changes during flight training. She was practicing combat maneuvers when suddenly, time seemed to slow down. She could see every movement of her plane with perfect clarity. Her reflexes became so fast that she could avoid obstacles before she was even consciously aware of them. After landing, she found her squadron leader waiting for her. Boram, what happened up there? Your flight performance just broke every record we have. I don't know, sir. Everything just became easier. Similar reports were coming in from around the world. Engineer Tai Kyung was working on military equipment when he realized he could understand the function of every component just by looking at it. Teacher Min Seo discovered she could sense the thoughts and emotions of her students with perfect accuracy. Dr. So Young worked day and night to understand what was happening. Her research team grew as more scientists experienced the same changes. They called it the awakening. The stress of the alien threat has triggered something in human DNA, she explained to a gathering of world leaders. Genetic sequences that have been dormant for thousands of years are suddenly activating. President Carter of the United States leaned forward. Are you saying humans are evolving? Not evolving. We already had this potential. It was just sleeping. The extreme threat has woken it up. General Williams looked skeptical. How is this possible? Evolution takes millions of years. Not this kind of change, So Young said. This is more like accessing abilities that were always there, like having a computer with programs you didn't know existed, and suddenly finding out how to run them. The alien ships remained motionless above every major city. Their sensors continued scanning the planet. But the Vexthari commanders were starting to notice unusual readings from the human population. Commander, Zek studied the data from his flagship above Seoul. The biological readings from the humans are changing, he reported to his superior. Their neural activity has increased by 400% in the past 3 days. Irrelevant, came the reply. Enhanced thinking will not help them against our weapons. Begin the invasion 2 days early. Their resistance is becoming annoying. The first alien dropships launched from the crystal vessels at dawn. They were smaller craft designed to carry ground troops. Each one was about the size of a large building and moved without making any sound. Sergeant Dong Hyun was commanding a defensive position in Seoul when the first dropship landed in the city center. His squad was equipped with standard military weapons, assault rifles, rocket launchers, and body armor that seemed useless against alien technology. All units. First contact in Sector 7, he reported over his radio. Alien ground forces are deploying. The alien soldiers that emerged from the dropship looked similar to the commander, who had delivered the surrender demand. They had the same blue-gray skin and black eyes. But these soldiers were bigger, covered in some kind of metallic armor. They carried weapons that glowed with energy. Dong Hyun watched them through his binoculars. There were about 50 alien soldiers, and they were moving toward the government district. His squad had 12 men. The odds were terrible. Sergeant, one of his soldiers whispered, what are our orders? Dong Hyun was about to order a retreat when something strange happened. He could suddenly see the aliens' movement pattern with perfect clarity. He knew exactly where they would go next, what tactics they would use, even which buildings they would try to secure. Listen carefully, he told his squad. I know this sounds crazy, but I know what they're going to do. Take positions on the 3rd floor of the bank building. When they reach the intersection, we hit them from above. His soldiers looked confused, but they followed orders. As they moved into position, Dong Hyun realized they were all moving differently, faster, more coordinated. It was like they were reading each other's minds. The alien soldiers reached the intersection exactly when Dong Hyun predicted they would. They moved in a formation that should have been impossible to predict, but somehow he had known. Fire, he ordered. What happened next defied everything the military had taught about combat. Dong Hyun's squad didn't just shoot at the aliens. They moved like a single organism. Each soldier knew exactly where the others would fire. They covered each other perfectly without even talking. The alien soldiers were caught completely off guard. Their advanced armor protected them from most of the bullets, but the human soldiers were hitting weak points that shouldn't have been visible. Within minutes, half the alien squad was down. The remaining aliens tried to retreat, but the human soldiers anticipated their movements. They cut off every escape route before the aliens even chose them. When the fighting was over, 12 human soldiers had defeated 50 alien warriors. Dong-hyun stared at the battlefield in amazement. How did we do that? Similar battles were happening all over the world. In New York, a police SWAT team destroyed an entire alien patrol using nothing but handguns and perfect coordination. In London, a group of civilian volunteers with hunting rifles defeated alien soldiers in power armor. Back on the alien flagship, Commander Zex was receiving reports that made no sense. "Sir, our ground forces are being defeated. The humans are fighting with impossible coordination and accuracy." His superior was silent for a long moment. "That's not possible. No primitive species has ever defeated Vexithari soldiers in ground combat. I'm sending you the battle recordings, sir." After reviewing the footage, the alien commander was disturbed. The humans weren't just fighting well. They were fighting like they could predict the future. They moved to counter alien tactics before those tactics were even fully deployed. Dr. So-young was analyzing the battle reports when she made a shocking discovery. "The enhancement isn't just individual," she told Admiral Kyung-min. "Humans who are near each other during combat are sharing information at a subconscious level. They're becoming a collective intelligence while still maintaining their individual personalities." "Are you saying we're becoming telepathic?" "Not exactly telepathic. More like networked. When humans work together now, they can access each other's skills and knowledge. A group of enhanced humans is much more than the sum of its parts." Captain Hyunwoo was monitoring the alien fleet from space when he noticed something new. The crystal ships were moving for the first time since they arrived. They were repositioning themselves into attack formations. "Houston, the alien fleet is mobilizing. I think they're preparing for a major assault." On Earth, enhanced humans everywhere felt the same thing at the same moment. Danger was coming. Without being told, they began preparing for the next phase of the war. In her laboratory, Dr. So-young looked at her latest test results. The genetic awakening was accelerating. Whatever humans were becoming, they weren't finished changing yet. The aliens had expected easy conquest of a primitive species. Instead, they were facing something they had never encountered before, a species that became stronger under pressure. Engineer. Tae-kyung was working on captured alien weapons when he suddenly understood not just how they worked, but how to improve them. Teacher Min Seo found she could coordinate the evacuation of thousands of people by connecting to their minds. Pilot Bo-ram discovered she could fly alien aircraft as if she had been born to them. The second wave of alien attacks was about to begin, but this time the humans would be ready. This time they wouldn't just defend, this time they would fight back. As the sun set on the third day, the crystal ships began to glow with weapon energy. The real war was about to start, but the aliens no longer faced the same species they had tried to conquer 3 days ago. The alien bombardment began at midnight. Energy beams rained down from the crystal ships like deadly lightning. But this time, the humans were ready. Commander Jae-hoon stood in the ruins of what used to be a shopping mall in Seoul. His unit had been defending the area when the aliens attacked. Half his men should have been dead. Instead, they had somehow known exactly where the energy beams would strike before they fired. "Move to the subway entrance," he ordered his soldiers. "The next strike will hit the north building in 15 seconds. He didn't know how he knew this, but he was absolutely certain. His soldiers trusted him completely now. They had learned that their enhanced abilities were real, and they were getting stronger. The energy beam struck exactly where Jae-hoon predicted. The building collapsed, but his soldiers were already safe underground. Around the world, the same thing was happening. Humans were avoiding alien attacks as if they could see the future. Dr. So-young watched the battle reports from her underground laboratory. The patterns were clear. Human abilities were growing faster than anyone had expected. "We're not just enhanced anymore," she told her research team. "We're becoming something completely new." Her assistant, Dr. Park, looked up from his computer. "The brain scans from today's soldiers show neural activity that shouldn't be possible. They're processing information at superhuman speeds." "It's more than that," So-young said. "Look at these battle reports. Human soldiers are interfacing directly with alien technology. They're turning captured weapons against their creators. This was exactly what was happening on the battlefield. Commander Jae-hoon had found a damaged alien rifle in the rubble. When he picked it up, something amazing occurred. He could understand how it worked instantly. More than that, he could feel the weapon's connection to the alien network. "I can access their communication system," he told Admiral Kyung-min over the radio. "I can hear what they're saying to each other." "What are they saying?" Jae-hoon concentrated, letting the alien technology speak to his enhanced mind. "They're confused. They're calling for reinforcements. They say this has never happened before. No species has ever fought back this effectively." The alien confusion was growing worse by the hour. On the flagship above Seoul, Commander Zex was receiving reports that made no sense at all. "Sir, the humans have somehow gained access to our communication networks. They're intercepting our tactical data in real time." His superior's image flickered on the screen. For the first time, the alien commander looked worried. "How is this possible? Our encryption is quantum-level security." "I don't know, sir, but it gets worse. They're not just intercepting our communications, they're learning to use our weapons. Human soldiers are operating our technology as if they designed it themselves." This was true. Pilot Soo Jin had been shot down over the Pacific Ocean when she encountered something impossible: a damaged alien fighter craft floating in the water. When rescue teams pulled her from the ocean, she was sitting in the alien cockpit, flying the enemy ship as if she had trained on it her whole life. "This is incredible," she reported to her base commander. "The controls are completely different from anything human, but I understand them perfectly. It's like the ship is talking directly to my brain." The most shocking discovery came when Soo-jin landed the alien fighter at a military base. Engineer Tae-kyung examined the craft and made an amazing finding. "This technology isn't just advanced," he told the gathered scientists and military officers. "It's designed to interface with conscious minds." The aliens built their machines to be operated by thought, not just physical controls. Dr. So-young understood immediately. That's why humans can use their technology so easily. Our enhanced abilities include direct neural interface capability. We can connect to their machines better than they can. The implications were staggering. If humans could operate alien technology, they could turn the aliens' advantages against them. But there was something even more important happening. Tech specialist Hai-jin discovered it while working on captured alien communication equipment. She had been trying to decode their messages when suddenly she wasn't just reading them, she was inside their network. "I'm connected to their entire fleet," she told Admiral Kyung-min. "I can see their ship positions, their weapon status, even their tactical plans. Can you disrupt their systems?" Hee-jin smiled. It was not a nice smile. "I can do better than that. I can send them a message they'll never forget." She accessed the alien fleet's main communication channel. Every ship in their invasion force received her transmission simultaneously. "This is Tech Specialist Hai-jin of the Terran Defense Forces," she broadcast in perfect Vexthari language. "You wanted to see what humans are capable of when threatened. Class dismissed." The message was more than words. Through the alien communication network, Hee-jin transmitted data showing every human victory from the past 3 days. She showed them footage of human soldiers defeating alien warriors. She showed them human pilots flying alien ships. She showed them human engineers improving alien weapons. The effect on the alien fleet was immediate. Panic spread through their ranks. For the first time in their history as conquerors, the Vexthari were afraid. On Earth, the real counteroffensive began. Humans were no longer just defending their cities. They were hunting alien forces actively. Sergeant Dong-hyun led his enhanced soldiers in coordinated strikes against alien positions. They moved like shadows, striking from unexpected directions and disappearing before the aliens could respond. "The enemy is regrouping near the river," he reported to command. "But they're making a mistake. They're positioning themselves exactly where we want them." He was right. The alien soldiers had chosen a defensive position that looked strong, but the enhanced humans could see its weaknesses instantly. Within an hour, Dong-hyun's small unit had eliminated an entire alien company. The pattern was repeating all over the world. In every battle, humans were not just winning, they were overwhelming their supposedly superior enemies. The alien invasion was turning into a disaster for the invaders, but the most important changes were happening to humanity itself. Dr. So-young's Latest research showed that the genetic awakening was reaching new levels every day. We're not just individuals anymore, she explained to the Emergency Council of World Leaders. When humans work together now, they share not just information, but actual abilities. A group of enhanced humans can accomplish things that would be impossible for any individual. This was demonstrated perfectly when Captain Hyun-woo attempted something that should have been suicide. He suited up for a spacewalk and approached one of the smaller alien ships orbiting Earth. ISS Control. I'm making contact with the alien vessel, he reported. Captain, return to the station immediately. That's too dangerous. But Hyun-woo could feel something that the control room couldn't. The alien ship wasn't actively defended. Its crew was focused on the planet below, and his enhanced abilities were telling him something important. He could interface with the ship's systems. When he touched the alien hull, the ship's computer systems opened to him like a book. Within minutes, he was inside the vessel, flying it back toward Earth. ISS Control, this is Captain Hyun-woo. I've captured an intact alien patrol ship. I'm bringing it home. The captured ship provided crucial intelligence. The aliens were calling for massive reinforcements. Their emperor himself was coming to Earth with the Empire's most powerful weapons. They were no longer trying to conquer humanity. They were trying to destroy it completely before it could become a threat to their entire civilization. But the aliens were too late. Humanity was past the point where they could be destroyed by conventional weapons. The genetic awakening had given humans abilities that transcended physical limitations. General Wonsik discovered this when he found he could coordinate military units across entire continents through direct mental connection. Thousands of enhanced soldiers moved as a single organism under his guidance, but each maintained their individual personality and decision-making ability. We're becoming something the universe has never seen before, Dr. So-young told Admiral Kyung-min. We're individual consciousnesses that can unite into a collective intelligence without losing our humanity. The aliens were learning this the hard way. Every time they tried a new tactic, human forces countered it instantly. Every weapon they deployed was turned against them. Every advantage they had possessed for millions of years was becoming useless. Physicist Ye Jin made the discovery that would change everything. While studying captured alien faster-than-light technology, she didn't just understand how it worked, she saw how to improve it. Their FTL drives are primitive compared to what's possible, she announced. They're using brute force methods when elegant solutions exist. With our enhanced abilities, we can build drives that are faster, more efficient, and more powerful than anything in their fleet. The war was about to enter space, but this time humans wouldn't be defending their planet. They would be taking the fight to the enemy. As the fourth day ended, the Vexthari Empire faced something they had never encountered in their long history of conquest. They faced a species that became stronger under pressure, that learned from every attack, that turned their own weapons against them. The fifth day brought humanity to space. Captain Inho commanded a captured Vexthari destroyer that had been completely transformed by human engineering. The alien ship's original systems were still there, but now they were enhanced with human improvements that the original builders never imagined. All systems are responding perfectly, Inho reported to Earth Command. The neural interface is working better than we hoped. I can control every function of this ship just by thinking about it. His crew was a mix of enhanced humans from different countries and backgrounds. Engineer Tai Kyung had redesigned the ship's weapons to be 3 times more powerful. Physicist Ye Jin had upgraded the engines to travel faster than any Vexithari vessel. Pilot Sujin served as his second-in-command, her enhanced reflexes allowing her to react to threats before the ship's computers even detected them. Captain, Sujin said, I'm picking up movement from the alien fleet. They're forming a new battle formation. Inho could see it too, through the ship's enhanced sensors that were now connected directly to his enhanced mind. The Vexthari were pulling their ships into a defensive sphere around their flagship, but he could also see something the aliens couldn't, the weak points in their formation. Send the data to General Wonsik, he ordered. Tell him we have a clear path to their command ship. On Earth, General Wonsik was coordinating the largest military operation in human history. Enhanced soldiers, pilots, and engineers from every nation were working together, as if they shared one mind. In a way they did. Wonsik could feel the thoughts and intentions of thousands of enhanced humans simultaneously. Not their private thoughts, those remained individual, but their tactical awareness, their skills, their readiness for battle. It was like being connected to a vast network of human consciousness. All units prepare for Operation Rising Sun, he broadcast. We're not just defending Earth anymore. We're going to end this war. The plan was ambitious beyond anything humans had ever attempted. Enhanced pilots would fly captured alien ships in coordinated strikes against the Vexthari fleet. Enhanced soldiers would board enemy vessels and capture them from within. Enhanced engineers would turn captured alien technology into weapons more powerful than the originals. But the most important part of the plan involved something the aliens had no knowledge of. Dr. So Young had made a discovery that changed everything. Genetic awakening isn't finished, she announced to the Global Command Center. We're still evolving, and the next phase is going to give us abilities that transcend physical reality. She was right. Across the globe, enhanced humans were experiencing new phenomena. They could perceive things that weren't visible to normal senses. They could influence matter and energy through focused thought. Some could even project their consciousness beyond their physical bodies. Teacher Min Seo discovered this when she found herself floating outside her body, observing the classroom where her students were taking shelter. She could see alien soldiers approaching the school from 3 blocks away. More importantly, she could sense their intentions and emotions. They're afraid, she told the military units defending the area. The alien soldiers are terrified. They don't understand what's happening to them or to us. They're following orders, but they expect to die. This information proved crucial. Human forces realized they weren't just fighting superior technology. They were fighting a demoralized enemy that had never faced real resistance before. In space, the battle was beginning. Captain Inho led a fleet of 12 captured alien ships, all crewed by enhanced humans. They moved toward the Vexthari fleet with impossible coordination, each ship responding to the other's actions before they were even taken. The alien defenders opened fire first. Energy beams that could destroy cities struck the human-controlled ships. But instead of being destroyed, the ships absorbed the energy and redirected it back at their attackers. How is this possible? Inho wondered aloud. Engineer Tai Kyung had the answer. The ship's neural interface is connected to our enhanced abilities. We're not just controlling the technology, we're merging with it. The ship is becoming an extension of our consciousness. The implications were staggering. The human ships weren't just using alien technology, they were improving it in real time through direct mental interface. Every system became more efficient, every weapon became more powerful, every defense became stronger. The Vexthari fleet found itself fighting an enemy that was learning and adapting faster than their computers could track. Human-controlled ships dodged attacks that should have been impossible to avoid. They fired weapons with accuracy that exceeded their targeting system's capabilities. On the alien flagship, the Vexthari Emperor himself watched the battle with growing horror. He was an ancient being who had personally conquered dozens of worlds. He had never seen anything like this. How many ships have we lost? He demanded. His commander's voice was shaking. 17 destroyers, 8 cruisers, and 3 battleships, my lord. The humans are not just defeating us. They're capturing our vessels and turning them against us. The Emperor studied the tactical displays. The human attack pattern made no sense according to any military doctrine he knew. They moved like a single organism, but with the creativity and unpredictability of individual minds. What is the status of our reinforcements? The second fleet will arrive in 2 hours, my lord, but... The commander hesitated. Speak. My lord, I'm not certain additional ships will help. The humans seem to become stronger the more we fight them. Each battle teaches them new abilities. The Emperor was silent for a long moment. In his 1,000 years of life, he had never encountered a species that improved during combat. The Vexthari won through overwhelming superiority from the start. They had no experience with enemies that adapted and evolved. Prepare the planet killer, he ordered finally. We will end this before they become too powerful to stop. The planet killer was the Vexthari Empire's ultimate weapon. It had destroyed entire worlds that refused to surrender. The Emperor had hoped not to use it. Planets were more valuable intact. But humanity was becoming a threat to the entire galaxy. On Earth, enhanced humans felt the new danger before any sensors detected it. Dr. So Young looked up from her research with sudden alarm. Something's coming, she announced. Something much more dangerous than anything we've faced. Around the world, enhanced humans felt the same thing. A weapon of incredible power was being prepared above them. But instead of fear, they felt something else: determination. The genetic awakening entered its final phase. Humans who had been enhanced beyond normal limitations found themselves transcending physical reality itself. They could exist partially outside normal space and time. They could influence matter and energy through pure thought. Captain Hyunwoo experienced this while floating in space near the International Space Station. He found himself able to survive in vacuum without a suit, his consciousness maintaining his body's functions through direct control. "This is impossible," he said. But his voice carried across space to the station without radio communication. Pilot Boram discovered she could fly without a plane, moving through the air by sheer will. Sergeant Dong Hyun found he could become temporarily invisible, his consciousness bending light around his body. The changes were happening everywhere. Enhanced humans were becoming something beyond the physical limitations that had defined life in the universe. General Won-sik felt the global network of human consciousness reaching critical mass. 8 billion human minds, all enhanced, all connected, all focused on a single goal: survival and victory. "All units," he broadcast, "the enemy is preparing their ultimate weapon. But we're not the same species they tried to conquer 5 days ago. We're ready for anything they can bring." In space, the Vexathari Emperor's flagship began charging its planet-killer weapon. Energy gathered around the massive ship like a dark star. The weapon would fire in minutes, and when it did, Earth would be reduced to cosmic dust. But as the weapon charged, something unprecedented happened. 8 billion enhanced human minds turned their attention to the alien flagship simultaneously. For the first time in their species' history, humans acted as a single consciousness while remaining individual beings. The Emperor felt it first as a pressure in his mind, then as a presence, then as an overwhelming force that invaded every system on his ship. "My lord," his commander screamed, "the humans are inside our computers. They're inside our minds. They're everywhere." The planet-killer weapon continued charging, but the Emperor no longer controlled it. Enhanced human consciousness had taken over his ship, his fleet, his entire invasion force. Captain In-ho watched from his captured destroyer as the alien flagship began turning its ultimate weapon away from Earth. The massive energy beam, designed to destroy planets, fired harmlessly into empty space. "This is Captain In-ho to all human forces," he broadcast. "The enemy fleet is under our control. The invasion is over. We've won." But the victory was more than military. Humanity had evolved beyond the physical limitations that defined other species in the galaxy. They had become something new: individual consciousness that could unite without losing individuality, beings that existed partially outside normal reality while remaining fundamentally human. The final confrontation did not happen in space or on any planet. It happened in the realm of pure consciousness, where thought itself became reality. Dr. So-young stood in her laboratory, but she was also everywhere else at the same time. Her consciousness existed in multiple places: in her physical body, in the global human network, and in dimensions that had no physical existence. This was the final gift of humanity's transformation. "We're not just enhanced anymore," she said to Admiral Kyung-min, though he was thousands of miles away and heard her as clearly as if she stood beside him. "We've transcended the boundaries between individual minds while keeping our individual selves. We're still human, but we're also something more." The Vexthari Emperor's flagship hung motionless above Earth, its planet-killer weapon pointed harmlessly at empty space. Inside the ship, the Emperor himself sat frozen in his command chair, experiencing something no member of his species had ever felt before: direct contact with a consciousness greater than his own. The human collective mind spoke to him, not with words but with pure understanding that bypassed language entirely. "You came here expecting to find a primitive species that would surrender quickly," the voice said. "Instead, you found evolution's greatest achievement, a species that becomes stronger under pressure, that learns from every challenge, that transforms threat into growth." The Emperor tried to respond, but realized that his entire understanding of reality was too limited. His species had conquered through force and technology. They had never encountered consciousness that could exist beyond physical form. Around him, his crew sat in similar states of shock. They could feel the human presence in their minds, not invading or controlling, but simply being there, vast, peaceful, but utterly undefeatable. On Earth, 8 billion humans experienced the moment together. Each person remained completely individual, with their own thoughts and personalities intact. But they were also part of something magnificent, a collective consciousness that spanned the entire planet. Captain Hyunwoo floated in space without a suit, sustained by will alone. He could see the alien fleet spread out before him, every ship now under human control. But more importantly, he could see beyond the physical universe to the realm where consciousness itself existed. "It's beautiful," he said, and every human on Earth could see what he saw. The true nature of reality, where mind and matter were one, where thought could reshape existence itself. General Wansik no longer needed traditional military communications. He could coordinate with enhanced humans across the globe through direct connection of consciousness. But what amazed him most was that despite this unity, every person retained their complete individuality. "We haven't lost ourselves," he realized. "We've found ourselves. We've discovered what human consciousness really is when it's allowed to reach its full potential." Engineer Tai Kyung was working on alien technology that had seemed impossibly advanced just days ago. Now he could see that it was actually primitive compared to what consciousness could achieve. The aliens built machines to do what enhanced minds could accomplish through pure thought. "Their technology is a crutch," he told his team. "They never learned to use consciousness directly, so they had to build external tools to accomplish what we can do with focused intention." The Vexthari Emperor finally found his voice. "What are you?" he whispered. The answer came not in words but in direct experience. For a brief moment, the Emperor felt what it was like to be human, to have individual consciousness that could choose to connect with others without losing itself, to have a mind that could grow and adapt and become more than it started as. The experience terrified him. His species had achieved great power through rigid hierarchy and absolute control. The idea of consciousness that was both individual and collective, both limited and unlimited, was beyond their understanding. "We are what happens when a species learns to evolve consciously," the human voice explained. "We are what the universe creates when intelligence decides to become more than it was." Captain Inho observed the scene from his captured alien destroyer. The ship responded to his thoughts as if it were part of his body, but he could also feel the consciousness of every human connected to the global network. It was like being a single note in a vast symphony, beautiful alone but part of something even more magnificent. "The war is over," he announced to the fleet, "but not because we defeated them with weapons. We've shown them something they never knew was possible, consciousness that transcends physical limitations while remaining essentially human." Pilot Su Jin experienced this transcendence directly. She found herself able to exist in multiple places simultaneously, her awareness spanning from Earth to the edge of the solar system. She could pilot ships through thought alone, communicate across impossible distances, and perceive dimensions that normal senses couldn't detect. But what mattered most was that she was still herself, enhanced beyond all previous human limitations, but still Su Jin, still individual, still human. Dr. So Young made the final discovery that explained everything. "We haven't just evolved physically or mentally," she announced to the global consciousness. "We've evolved spiritually. We've learned to exist as both individual beings and as part of universal consciousness simultaneously." This was the transformation the universe had been waiting for. Other species in the galaxy had achieved great technology or powerful bodies, but none had learned to transcend the barrier between self and other while maintaining both. The Vexthari Emperor found himself able to speak again, but his words were different now. "We surrender," he said. "Not to your weapons or your technology, but to what you have become. We surrender to consciousness itself." The human collective responded with something the Emperor had never expected. Compassion. "We don't want your surrender," they said. "We want understanding. You came here to conquer, but you've given us the greatest gift possible, the pressure we needed to discover our true potential." The Emperor felt confusion. "You're not going to destroy us?" "Why would we? You're part of the universe too. You have consciousness even if you haven't learned to use it fully. You can learn and grow just like any other species." This was the final revelation. Humanity's transformation hadn't made them superior to other species. It had made them protectors of consciousness itself. They had become guardians of the principle that all awareness was valuable and deserved the chance to evolve. The alien fleet began to depart, but not in defeat. The Vexithari had learned something that would change their entire civilization. They had encountered a species that responded to aggression with growth, to threat with transcendence, to attempted conquest with compassion. As the crystal ships disappeared into hyperspace, the Emperor sent a final message to the galaxy. All species be warned, Terra is not to be touched, but not because the humans will destroy you, because they will show you what you could become. And once you see that, everything else becomes meaningless. Dr. So Young recorded the final entry in her research log. Though now she didn't need physical recording devices, her thoughts became part of the eternal record of human consciousness. We came so close to surrender, she reflected. Instead, we discovered what we truly are. Not the universe's victims, but its consciousness awakening to its own potential. The aliens expected our defeat. They witnessed our graduation. Teacher Min Seo found herself able to connect with students across the globe, sharing knowledge and understanding at the speed of thought. But more importantly, she could help each student discover their own unique potential, while remaining part of the greater human family. Education will never be the same, she realized. When consciousness can connect directly with consciousness, learning becomes evolution. Sergeant Dong Hyun no longer needed weapons to protect people. His enhanced awareness could detect threats before they became dangerous, and his connection to the global network meant help was always available instantly. But he remained a soldier, dedicated to protecting the innocent. We're still human, he told his squad. We still care about the same things, protecting our families, helping our communities, making the world better. We just have better tools to do it now. As the sun rose on the seventh day, humanity looked out at a universe that was no longer threatening. They had become something that could not be conquered because they had learned to transcend the very concept of conquest. They were individual consciousnesses that could unite without losing individuality. They were beings that existed partially outside physical reality, while remaining essentially human. They were evolution's answer to every force that sought to dominate or destroy consciousness. Admiral Kyung-min stood in the Seoul Command Center, looking up at a sky that was clear for the first time in a week. But he could also perceive the broader universe, where other species were beginning to learn about what had happened on Earth. This is just the beginning, he realized. We're not just protecting Earth anymore. We're protecting the principle that consciousness should be free to evolve. We're guardians of awareness itself. The age of Terran ascension had begun. Humanity had learned to exist as both individuals and as a collective, as both physical beings and as pure consciousness, as both protectors and teachers.